Is Dwight better without Kobe? Ponder the thought. We welcome in our NBA analyst, Tim Legler, affectionately known as Legs. You said this. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You said this on Mike and Mike and SportsCenter. Dwight is better without Kobe. You need to convince us.
Well, he's a better player, and it really has to do with his own internal issues. I think he could be a better player if he accepted it mentally, how he could play with Kobe. The bottom line is this. Ever since Dwight Howard first put on a meaningful basketball uniform, probably going back to the age of 12 when he started playing AAU, he has been the focal point of every team he has played on prior to arriving in Los Angeles. And he has not been as motivated to be great playing alongside Kobe Bryant as he will be if he's out there by himself. And I think he showed that the other night against San Antonio. I think he's going to show it again tonight. And I think he's going to show it in a first-round playoff series against the San Antonio Spurs. Kobe Bryant being on the floor and really kind of playing in his own world as often as he does, I think that's something that Dwight Howard has not handled very well. If he approached it the right way, he could see how much attention Kobe draws, and he could be even more dominant than he was this year in a Laker uniform. But without him, now he knows it's his deal. It's his team tonight, and it's his team heading into the playoffs. I think that puts him in a better place and makes him a better player because he's more motivated to play harder.
But like he said, he didn't want the pressure of Kobe Bryant on him. So do you still feel like he wants to take it on and say, yes, I'm a better player?
Well,
I can show you all.
I also feel like he looked at Kobe Bryant almost like he had two heads when he got to Los Angeles. Like, I've never played with a guy like this in my life. Like, everything that we're trying to do from a team standpoint, Kobe kind of trumps that by playing how he wants to play. Now, let me be very clear what I'm saying here. I'm not saying the Lakers are a better team without Kobe Bryant. So let's just put it out there right now.
Okay.
They're not doing anything in the postseason without Kobe Bryant. Okay. And if you had to pick one or the other to be gone and give the Lakers a better chance, it'd be Dwight Howard, clearly. But that's not the question. The question is, will Dwight Howard be a more effective and dominant player without Kobe Bryant individually? And I think the answer to me is obvious that he will be, and I think you're going to see that tonight. And I think you'll see the numbers he puts up and the way he plays in a first-round playoff series against San Antonio, that'll be the case.
Stephen A?
Well, he's not wrong. I mean, we're talking the legs here. He knows what he's talking about. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, let's put things in perspective. You're damn right he hasn't played with anybody like Kobe Bryant. Is Hito Turkoglu like Kobe Bryant? Is Jason Richardson like Kobe Bryant? Is J.J. Redick like Kobe Bryant? No. I mean, Jermaine Nelson, all of these guys, they can play. They belong in the league. But Dwight Howard was the focal point of the Orlando Magic for a reason. He was your big man presence. Stan Van Gundy surrounded him with dudes that could shoot the three. You know, the Michael Pietrises of the world was on that squad as well when he went to the finals. You've got guys with size who can defend the perimeter but also have decent perimeter shots. That was their game. But they didn't have the talent, the excellence, the superstar stature of a Kobe Bryant. And so when Dwight Howard went to L.A., he was going to be the second wheel, which he always knew he was going to be, which was why he wanted to go to Brooklyn to begin with. Remember, L.A. was a third option. If he had his druthers, Brooklyn was first on the list, then Dallas, then L.A. But then when he got his back injured, he went to L.A., and was living up there in Beverly Hills in the sunshine in Southern California with everybody wishing that he was going to end up landing in L.A., and there you have it. It worked out that way. So all things were good, and that's fine. But L.A. was actually a third option. So just keep that in mind. They were a third option because he didn't want to be a second wheel. He's going to make the adjustment if he has to, but he prefers to be the number one guy. And with Kobe out, he's going to be the number one guy.
Okay, back to legs. I agree with the premise that Dwight's heart will be more in the game tonight. He will be more involved on offense and defense because he will get more touches. Not a whole lot more touches than he used to get, but more free touches where he knew when it did touch his hands, he could actually do something with it if he so desired, if he chooses. It is no fun to play with Kobe Bryant. Now, let's just get that out there. It's no fun. He is going to dominate the basketball the way nobody has maybe ever dominated the ball in the history of this game. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's a thing. It's no fun for anybody on that team to play with Kobe, especially when they are losing basketball games. So let's just keep this in perspective. Even now, today, after Kobe has missed these last few games, he still leads the league in shot attempts by 65 shots. He's still in 3 fewer games than Russell Westbrook has played. He's taken 65 more shots than the second guy, Russell Westbrook. How he's taken the second most shots, that's a whole nother issue. But don't get me started on that. But my point is, the other night, they all had fun because look at the shot attempts. Dwight did get his 15, but Powell got 17. And Steve Blake got 16 attempts. And Meta got 10. And Jody Meeks got 11 This is gold. It's like, wow. It's a fun new... Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
It's fun to play offense without Kobe. Sure. Not better, but more fun for everybody involved. I will point out, though, just for, again, perspective, Dwight took 15 shots. In 10 previous games to the San Antonio game through this year, he has taken 15 or more shots. So he did get some touches in other games, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. But I agree with you. He's got to be more excited now than he was trying to make shots with Kobe looking over his shoulder.
I agree 100%. Look, even if he doesn't get as many shots, just the fact that he knows if he runs the floor hard, the first look is going to be into him.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case.
No.
So he's going to become a better rebounder, I believe. I think he's going to be more motivated as a shot blocker, defensive presence. So for me, it's an obvious question. He's going to be better individually. Does it make the Lakers a better team? No, because I think if Dwight embraced his role of playing alongside Kobe, which is a tough thing to do, don't get me wrong, especially when you've been Dwight Howard your whole career. It's hard to accept it. That would give him his best chance of winning a title and being on that list of big men that have won a title, not on that very short list, which has one guy on it, Patrick Ewing, of great centers that never won. Right now, Dwight's on that list. He can be on the other one if he embraced that.
Sure. Stephen A.
Gentlemen, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it on this very show weeks ago that we were raving about the unselfishness of Kobe Bryant, who was his assist for climbing? Because he was playing point guard and feeding the big boys the ball. Yeah, I recall that being something that we discussed.
Yeah, somebody was laughing at me for applauding that, though, saying it wouldn't last. That guy's
I said it wouldn't last. I said it wouldn't last, but it happened. It happened. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? Because Kobe Bryant knew that I had to feed the big boy because, you know what? If he's not happy, he's not going to play effectively. So what he did was he modified his game for the betterment of the team. They were winning basketball games, and that was that.
You're 100% right about that. But there's one other thing we haven't talked about, and that is the other element, and I think it's a bigger element than what goes on the court, is the personality of Kobe Bryant is a major problem for Dwight Howard. I don't think he's ever played with a guy that made him accountable. His whole life, as far as another teammate, strongest personality he had in Orlando was Jameer Nelson, and they were like great
that sounds
friends.
like a maturity problem.
Well, what are you suggesting,
we all know that
Tim?
Dwight Howard struggles with the maturity issue, but I think now that Kobe Bryant is removed even from the locker room presence, it's more of an ownership thing that Dwight Howard feels with this team. And Mike D'Antoni feels more of an ownership with this team. And I think all of those things combined will make Dwight Howard more motivated. Can he get them out of the first round, though, as their best guy against the San Antonio Spurs? I doubt it. I know they'll have a better chance than they would have against the Oklahoma City Thunder, though.
Sure.
Okay, Stephen, let me ask Legs one last question. Bigger picture now. Given what you just said, if Kobe comes back strong off his Achilles, and it's a major rehab, as you know, but let's say he recommits and says, man, I'm back for a couple more years at least here, maybe 3 years more. What will that do to Dwight Howard's choice next year, knowing that he will have to share the ball with Kobe or share the locker room with Kobe?
It's a great question. And one of the problems for Dwight Howard is that he's got to make this decision not knowing. Because Kobe Bryant can say whatever he wants. The bottom line is this is a serious injury, probably more serious than an ACL.
I agree.
And they're putting it out there at 6 months as a 34-year-old guard with 54,000 minutes.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic.
Right.
If he played next year, I personally wouldn't expect him before the first of the year at the earliest. And who knows what he'll be. Kobe Bryant is going to be rehabbing, and Dwight Howard's going to have to make this decision based on who knows what Kobe is going to be when he comes back. I will say this, though. I feel like Dwight Howard feels he doesn't have a whole lot of choice but to stay. Because to leave Los Angeles and leave Kobe, what will that really say about you leaving a situation, playing for the Los Angeles Lakers after 1 year, playing with an all-time great player and giving yourself arguably a chance to contend for a championship maybe? I think Dwight Howard almost is backed into a corner to stay.
To stay with LA. Go ahead, Stephen A.
No! That's not true. I mean, listen, I think that LA is the best scenario for him, too, because obviously he loves being in Hollywood and he's got aspirations beyond the basketball court. But I'm not sure if it would be just, embraced as a form of stupidity if he decided to go to Houston and to play with James Harden, who's a rising star in this league, who, by the way, is only around 24 years of age. You're talking about some dude that's about 10 years younger than Kobe that has the potential. He's rising to superstardom, Tim. I'm sure you'd agree with that. They're younger. It's Texas. It's less pressure. But they're also on the come-up. Whereas you're talking about staying in L.A., but Kobe, he's got, again, even if he comes back healthy, we're looking at him for 2 years. James Harden's going to be around for another decade.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And there's also, this may be a little more far-fetched, Chris Paul could opt to join Dwight and go to Atlanta. That's always a possibility. Back to Dwight's hometown.
Yeah,
Maybe
they ain't going to Atlanta. They ain't going to Atlanta.
He doesn't want to go back home because it's too distracting. But still, there are other options that would be viewed as viable options.
I agree with viable options,
Fellas
but I
like to
also
live in Atlanta. They like to live in Atlanta. They don't want to play in Atlanta.
But to be eventually the guy in Los Angeles playing for the Lakers, when you know that is inevitable if you resign, because Kobe's not going to be there more than a year or two at most.
You're saying it's more appealing.
I would think the way that would be viewed, and you walked away from that.
Sure.
Look, I'm not saying you couldn't go win in Houston because you win a title there. I mean, playing with James Harden, I guess you could, become a serious threat. But I'm just saying, take a Laker uniform off. You know it's going to be your franchise.
Yeah. Okay.
How many guys in history have ever passed on that opportunity?
Legs, thanks for the deets. We appreciate it. Coming up next.